Hello and welcome to the 32nd episode of Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad and I am joined by my brother Rob. Yes! He did it! Wait, what's going on?
Evil laugh.
Oh, okay. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I heard actually by a commenter on our webpage that you recently experienced Dr. Horrible's something rather?
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Yes, explain to us what this is.
Well, serendipitously, on the same day, both me and my roommate DJ heard about this show, a internet project by Joss Whedon.
The Firefly guy.
And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, yes. This came about during the writer's strike.
Yeah, what is this? Is it a musical?
Yes. Music all written by Joss Whedon and his brother Jed Whedon.
Right.
It's a 3-part epic about the rise and or fall of a supervillain named Dr. Horrible,
yeah,
who is played by Neil Patrick Harris. He starts off by showing you how he's working on his evil laugh before he goes on to reading emails and stuff like that.
Well, that sounds funny right there. I haven't seen anything about it, and I actually thought your evil laugh was for The Dark Knight, but...
No. It is absolutely, you must go see it. Unfortunately, it's not free anymore.
Oh, okay.
And now it's available on iTunes. What is it? $4 for all 3 episodes.
Okay.
And it's really worth it. I mean, like, Nathan Fillion of Firefly fame is his nemesis, Captain Hammer. And then also Felicia Day plays a kind of mutual love interest between the two. There's also a comic book for Captain Hammer on darkhorse.com.
Okay.
All this can be found at drhorrible.com. It really has stuck it to the man in so many ways by having like an audience of millions of people without any network support. And Joss Whedon, what can we say? He's the man.
Yeah, very talented musically now, apparently, as well. Well, that's really cool. Geek news-wise, my favorite story this week has got to be what premiered before The Dark Knight as I sat in a darkened theater.
Yeah.
I did not see The Dark Knight with you or Matt, but man, I've never more wanted to have you guys sitting there in the theater with me because the Watchmen trailer premiered before The Dark Knight, and even as I said that, it sent some chills up my spine because this was the best trailer I've seen in a long time. And I was just sitting there. I wanted to shriek with geek excitement, but I tried not to because, obviously that doesn't go down well in an audience of kind of like, it's like 11 o'clock in the morning, like older people, very respectful audience. So I didn't want to spoil that atmosphere by, having a geek enjoyment session of my own. But, oh my gosh, I was fist pumping quietly as much as I could and saying to Amber, oh, this is it. Freaking awesome trailer. Great choice of music. Smashing Pumpkins, I believe, and it may even be... is it a Billy Corgan song, or is it a Smashing Pumpkins?
It's a Smashing Pumpkins song. Ironically, my friend pointed out that same Smashing Pumpkins song was used for Batman and Robin.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Yeah, it couldn't be further from that.
I've watched that trailer over and over again, and...
Yeah, me too.
Each time I'm completely struck with how well that music is matched to what's going on. Like you have him singing.
Indeed.
He's singing like, and now the kingdom comes, and they show
Ozymandias lift his arms. So yeah, you noticed that as well.
The world will look up and shout, save us, and I'll look down and say no.
Awesome.
Everybody looks amazing. I was so worried that Dr. Manhattan would look cheesy.
Yeah.
He looks phenomenal.
Preach it.
Everything.
I'll just let you talk because I've been raving about this all week.
I through a series of poor circumstances ended up seeing the movie by myself. Which is like, I guess, the ultimate degradation in geekness. I was saving a seat for a friend, and at the last minute he canceled.
Okay.
So I'm sitting next to people I don't know.
You don't even have anybody you can like embrace during that trailer. Yeah.
As soon as it comes on, I'm watching it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at.
Right.
And as soon as the kind of big reveal happens that I recognize the frame from the comic book.
Exactly.
I'm just like, oh my gosh! And the guy next to me is like, what is it, Electric Man? Or just like...
There's a lot of Iron Man, Batman.
You were at 11 a.m. showing. I was at like a midnight showing,
okay.
So I thought there would be more geeks in the audience. I think I was the only one kind of clapping after the trailer ended.
Wow. Well, that's surprising, but I do think that Watchmen is something that is more in the literary sort of side of geekdom. I don't think that comic book nerds per se have all read that. Now, I mean, I don't know, but the same people who like Batman and Iron Man may be more of a general comic audience, and that is definitely more literary. Now, speaking of that, the trailer was very action-packed, and I couldn't be happier with that, but I do hope that they, stay true to the more serious drama sort of side of the story, as we discussed in our Watchmen review episode.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Dr. Manhattan looks awesome. It's the comic come to life.
It really is. And I highly recommend visiting the website, WatchmenMovie.com. Really kind of just like this small little window into that world that they've kind of set up.
It's great. And just as a quick note here, the Terminator Salvation trailer also premiered. That's a movie that we've been critical of in the news portions of our show. But I have to say just real quick that I'm more interested now having seen that trailer.
Yeah, we'll see if Christian Bale can save yet another franchise.
Indeed. So, Rob, what interested you this week in Geek News?
Geek News, something that just I found out just while driving around at 4 in the morning, passed by a Verizon store and saw a banner hanging up saying, "Millions of songs, one low price on your phone." It was a advertisement for Rhapsody on Vcast.
Now, I need to know a few things here first, because I have a list.
Yeah.
Qualifications. Are they streaming?
You can download.
Okay.
Onto your phone.
But you can do it from your cell phone.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. Basically, you take your Rhapsody to go subscription, which is like $15 a month. If you're a Verizon customer with certain phones that support music, you can go on there, download anything from Rhapsody for the one price, like save it all onto your phone and just listen to it and take it with you. Like really it's music on demand on your phone.
Yeah. Now, do you think Verizon has any phones worth owning, though, as MP3 players?
Well, I mean, the one they advertise it with is the brand new LG Chocolate.
Yeah, I've never found those to be particularly great.
One that I actually am keeping my eye on is the new LG Dare, which is their latest competitor in the touchscreen phone market, or let's just be honest, it's the iPhone competitor.
Oh my gosh, there's such shamelessness going around.
Yeah.
In fact, now when I see someone using an iPhone, I have to double check to make sure it's not like one of the competitors. They're like just cloning the designs as close as they can.
I know. Well, I've checked this out. My roommate DJ actually got one.
Yeah.
For a short time before his broke down, which was not a good sign. But just for the brief time I had to mess around with it, it really did look like it was competing with the iPhone on a really strong level.
Wow.
First of all, it's a Vertex-based interface rather than like bitmap like the Voyager was. So it's just as smooth with scrolling and stuff.
That's good.
It has like a favorite items page, which has like crooked icons and like things like twisted. So you can really see how it's like a kind of 3D interface flattened down.
Right on.
And it has a higher resolution camera.
Oh,
it
wow.
has a 3.5 megapixel.
That's a lot of pixels.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm keeping my eye on this. As soon as my 2-year contract ends with Helio, I might be checking this out, because Rhapsody on a phone is one of the golden grails, for you and I.
It's yet another weekly update from us about which music store is more brave than iTunes. You know what I mean? It's like just pushing and pushing further towards this kind of future of digital streaming on demand on your phone everywhere. And it's like, who's providing it? Rhapsody, Verizon, like, these places you don't expect.
Yeah.
Apple needs to really step up their game.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe the start of something big, may not.
Indeed.
And so now we turn to our main topic of discussion, which needs no introduction this week. Everybody's talking about this. The Dark Knight, starring Christian Bale, the late Heath Ledger, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and is probably the most hyped, trailered, TV-spotted movie that I've seen in a long time. I don't think you could turn on your TV without having seen a commercial.
It even has, let's admit it, Six Flags has a promotional roller coaster for this thing.
Yeah, when you build a roller coaster to promote a movie, that's serious.
Yeah.
That's not small money right there. And it did make back, seemingly, a lot of that money, so I guess it was business.
Seemingly. It's beaten Spider-Man for the highest grossing opening weekend of all time.
Wow.
It is well on its way, like as far as its velocity in raking in money, well on its way for beating Titanic for highest all-time grossing movie, just because almost everybody who has reviewed it and independently like said anything about it has said that they want to go see it again, you know.
Yeah, and I guess that we should get into our thoughts on the movie, and I'll let you go first. But bats versus spiders, bats win apparently. There are a lot of comic book movies now, and obviously there have been a lot of Batman movies. What did you think of this one?
Well, I'll just come right out and say it. This is the best Batman movie ever made.
Wow.
To be honest. I mean, Batman Begins had some huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Right. And, I mean, compared to the 80s thing, I mean, obviously it's a different flavor than what the 80s was going for.
Oh, sure.
But it's so much more serious. The title of our show is Growing Up Geek. I really feel like movies like this are evidence that geeks have grown up and are really like serious about what they want, but they still love their fantasy, you know, and that's what these audiences are. You know, we now have kids who are 20, 30 years old who grew up with Batman and still love Batman, but they're not kids anymore.
Right. They want the material to be respected as if it was real and not as if it's just a silly cartoon or something.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I went to the show. I got myself some tickets on Fandango, which, man, is a great way to go. Sorry, I don't mean to sound like I'm advertising something.
No,
but
you are the website man today, and I think this is fine. We're getting all of our paid advertising, except without the paying.
Right, so we're just not getting paid. I used to wait for the box office line like everybody.
Yeah.
And
no, let's not do that. Let's not do a commercial right now.
Okay.
But you bought your tickets. Yeah.
Got my tickets, right? And what was great was being while I was there, I got to see just the craziest freaks come out for this movie.
Oh, yes.
People just dressed up as everything. You had a lot of kids who had painted their faces like the Joker.
Weird.
I saw various Batmans, each progressively fatter and out of shape than the last.
Fat man.
Yes.
I said it when I saw Serenity in the theater. I had never seen so many trench coats and ponytails in one room.
Yeah. There was a guy dressed as Two-Face, but I was thinking about it. Like, if I wanted to really make an appearance at this place, the ultimate costume to wear to a Batman premiere, and you can cite me on this.
Okay.
Adam West.
Indeed.
Not even in the old Batman suit. Go as Adam West.
Right. You know? Well, my friends, thank you, loyal Bat Crusaders. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. That would be great. So hot tip there. Thank you. So you really love the movie.
I really love the movie.
What did you think of the last performance of Heath Ledger?
I'm going to say, I mean, well, before this movie, the news of Heath Ledger's death really didn't get to me that much, but now it does. Like, now I'm seriously like, man, we lost somebody huge. You know, I remember Batman in 1989 with Jack Keaton as
Jack Keaton and Michael Nicholson, I believe, were in that.
Jack Nicholson as the Joker. It was an incredible performance, and everybody kind of admitted that. I remember our dad talking about the reason why every other Batman movie had two villains was because they had to try to fill the shoes of Jack Nicholson's one performance as the Joker. And so Heath Ledger had some big shoes to fill and stepped up to it like nothing. Like, he blew me away as the Joker.
Really?
His interpretation of who he is, how he talks, how he thinks. I mean, obviously it's not just Heath Ledger, but the entire creative team behind the movie. They didn't soften the edges at all with this character. You know, like, he is Batman's ultimate nemesis. And I gotta say, just personally, that this was something that I was salivating over watching the movie. The musical choice for the Joker.
Oh, yes. Yeah, don't spoil it, but
I'm not going to spoil it, but it was
I agree
it does
with you.
exactly what the Jaws theme does and what any other like serious villain's music does. You hear it even if it precedes that villain,
Mm-hmm.
you just feel the presence of them in the situation. And
I agree with you 100%. And I wanted to get into the Joker a little bit because throughout history, I was sort of reading the history of the Joker, and he's kind of gone from a very silly character with very little origin. You didn't really know his backstory, to in the 80s, Alan Moore's famous Killing Joke comic that sort of made him a lot more ruthless and almost kind of perverted. He tortured Commissioner Gordon's daughter and showed Commissioner Gordon, sort of like nude photos of her, and it was really kind of more of a psychopathic version. And that sort of inspired Tim Burton,
right?
And then of course, my favorite, the animated series with Mark Hamill's Joker, who I always felt was so great with his intelligence, but also his maniacal laugh. And I was really hoping for intelligence in this Joker. And I know Matt and I went back and forth. He kept saying, come on, man, you don't need to worry. Heath Ledger's going to knock this out of the park. And I was scared that he was just going to be some sort of lip-licking pervert. But I got to say, from the get-go, from the intro to his character, you can tell there is definitely intelligence there. There's also that sort of weird side and that sick side. But he's not just a maniac. He's got a lot going on upstairs.
Yeah.
So I echo your sentiments about Heath Ledger, and it is a character that I now want to see more of, and I will never have that chance. And so I think that says a lot for the movie right there, is that it left me wanting to see another movie with that character.
I wonder if Heath Ledger is going to win an Academy Award posthumously for this performance.
A lot had been made about that.
Yeah.
That he should win an award. And I think a lot of that came from, a sentimental place rather than like an actual critique of his acting. But having seen it now, he should be nominated. I'm not going to say he should win because I don't know who he's going to be up against. But he should definitely be nominated, and that has nothing to do with his death. That has to do just purely with the strength of his performance in this. It was really good. So just to move into some of the other elements of the movie, I actually felt that this was not just a great superhero movie. This is a great movie. This is a great crime movie. Very intelligently put together, very well paced. I did feel like it was a tad long. I won't spoil the ending elements, but there are some definite changes toward the end that I wasn't quite coming along for the ride with. How did you feel about the movie and just in general?
You have a climax in the middle that then has you still have like a good hour to go after that.
Right.
I know what you're talking about towards the end. Anybody in the Batman universe will kind of know what's going on, just as far as like Harvey Dent.
I loved Harvey Dent. I just want to say, and I wanted to see more of that continue.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, Chris Nolan definitely had something to say. And it's sort of like when I left his other great movie, The Prestige, I was sort of dumbfounded a little bit at the end. I was like, what exactly happened? And when I left this as well, there was a lot of messages in this film, a lot of things that were said towards the end of this film, and I'm not sure I got it all. This movie made me feel a little bit stupid, and so I'll have to definitely go back and try to digest all of these different points that are being made, but certainly a movie that had something to say or tried to.
And that's really what's making a lot of these superhero movies these days all the much better, in my opinion, is that it's not just fun at the theater. It's not just like watch Batman beat some more villains. There's always a deeper story going on in these movies with Spider-Man, maybe Spider-Man 1 and 2. Spider-Man 3 was just because I don't think it had the same meaning that these other movies have strived for. The Dark Knight really does a lot to focus on that concept of what is the Dark Knight? What does it mean for Batman?
Yeah.
How is Batman Batman and not just another superhero or something like that?
Right. That's a good point. So there you go. That is our 2 cents on The Dark Knight. We got to close out our show here, but if you are a geek like us and you grew up that way, then please send us an email. Let us know how you're doing. And our email address is mail@growing-up-geek.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.